Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about the developer AMA. I woke up super early the other day just to try to watch this because I thought it was a developer live stream. Turns out it wasn't. It was just a subreddit thing with the creative director, the executive producer, the senior game director, and the lead producer just answering some questions from the community. So I figured, you know what, we're like 3 days late, but might as well take a look at it, you know? I didn't get a chance to. I've been too busy grinding Deep Desert, so yeah, let's see what kind of questions people asked and see what kind of answers we got. Because who knows, maybe we'll see some new, some interesting new stuff coming in the future. Let's see. So Malik said, "What quality of life plans do you have in the pipeline? What are the PvE plans for the near future?" Who said this? Scott said, "We have an update in testing that contains a lot of quality of life updates, which we're aiming to release in early July. When we get closer to it being public and testable, we release full patch notes. It contains too many changes for me to list here, but you'll be seeing it soon. For PvE plans for the future, each of our major updates will always continue to add new story content and new PvE content, which will release at the same time as our DLCs. Our goal is to have them release every 3 to 4 months. So with that being said, if we just got this game and it's currently June, we're probably not going to see, what, an update to like late August, early September. I'm hoping these quality of life changes would include just server issues, you know, overall stability, bug fixes. I'd like to see like some other things, you know, such as like the base, what is it, like the base projections not taking up too much space and actually letting you like place them and then not preventing you from building in that spot because the projection has a bigger hitbox. I'd also like to see, like a fill all button and extract all button for certain items. I think that'd be kind of huge, especially when you're talking about quality of life. Especially letting us name like our storage units or our vehicles, that'd be kind of cool too, especially because some of these bigger guilds, especially like when we're doing bigger content, partnering up with people, it's still a little chaotic trying to figure out whose is what. Do you plan to add daily and weekly contracts for PvE solo players? I don't think they should. Before I even read this, I don't think they should. But at the same time, I would like to see a bounty board in the Haga Basin. Like, I kind of get it, but I don't. I'd like to see like a refresh, if anything, of like not like repeatable old quests, but maybe like a, hey, go here, kill this guy, and get some coin real quick and some XP. But at the same time, I could understand why they wouldn't want to dump resources into that because they want us in the deep desert. So I don't know, maybe give us something to do in the deep desert if it's a contract related thing for PvE. But I don't know about the daily and weekly contracts. I think the Landsrad's pretty solid as it is. They just need to add more. Let's see. Currently, we have the Landsrad to offer weekly content for players to engage with. We have read the feedback about some tasks getting unlocked early, tasks being too hard for solo players, and the feedback on general rewards. We'll make improvements to all of these features to make sure that anyone who wants to engage in the Landsrad can, and they will feel that the rewards are worth it. In addition, we'll be releasing more PvE content with each major update. We will have more dynamic encounters in the game that will offer a variety of new content for you to discover as well as explore in Arrakis. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I kind of want to wait and see what they do. Like, don't get me wrong, like, as much as I'd love a bounty hunting system or, you know, stuff, like, more stuff to do in the Haga Basin, I think they need to add more things similar to it to add in the Deep Desert. So if they are going to add, like, PvE contracts, quote-unquote, it would require you to go to, like, you know, a certain POI in the Deep Desert for, like, the PvE, like, section or zone. I think that'd be kind of interesting. More like dynamic attacks, you know, kind of like how the slavers kind of just roam around Haga Basin in certain areas and they just randomly attack you. Stuff like that in like the PvE area of the desert. I think that'd be kind of cool. Let's see. Once you do all of the contracts in Haga Basin, there aren't any more quests to do. Are there any plans for adding repeatable / new contracts after every Coriolis storm? Or are we just supposed to do the not very engaging Landsrad task? Yes, there are plans to add contracts across the board. In addition, the Landsrad itself is supposed to involve more contracts in order to reveal tasks for the houses, as well as contracts that lead into the deep desert. Okay, yeah, so that kind of answers my own question. Because the only thing I've really been doing right now is just trying to get all the tier 6 items. So like we've been like spending tons of time trying to get the carrier and sandcrawler up and running. So I haven't even had time to look at the Landsrad. But I mean, for when it comes to like making money and XP, I've been farming some of the Imperial testing stations back in Haga Basin. But, I don't know. I think this would be interesting. I'd like to see a lot more. You know, having more is better than having, you know, just a few. Are you at least entertaining the idea to make changes to the Scout Ornithopter's weapon list? And what are your goals regarding changes to PvP in the Deep Desert now that it's been in players' hands for a short while? Ooh. Alright, this is going to be interesting. All right, let's read this one. The plan is to not remove rockets from the Scout Ornithopter. We will make it so how you equip your Scout will affect its maneuverability, speed, and making the Assault Thopter the better choice whenever you want to engage in combat. But still keeping some offensive capabilities for the Scout if that's how you want to choose to spec it. Alright. I don't disagree, but at the same time, I do. So I think if they make the Assault Thopter faster than the Scout, I think that would kind of be the better move, but make it towards less maneuverable. Make the Scout a little bit slower, but it's more maneuverable. I also think we desperately need more weaponry in the game besides just rockets. Like, I still think the Scout Ornithopter should have, I want to say kind of like a minigun or whatever that like turret thing was from the movies, and they should add like a shield mechanic to the ships or the Ornithopters rather than just like the basic armor. So it's like you want an assault because you want a PvP with the Ornithopter. You use a scout to kind of, scout, but you can PvP. But you would mainly be treating like your turret on the scout as like the SMG in the game, like the disruptor. So you'd use it to like disrupt the shields, and you could still do damage, but it'd take a little bit more. So it's more, how do I say it? It's a bit more of like a skill gap. There'd have to be some trade-off. Obviously, you could still run rockets, but I think having like a minigun type of thing in this game that like, could disrupt shields or something like that, or adding a shield mechanic, I think that could be interesting. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just speculation. It's their game. They're going to do what they want. But I do think all of it needs work. I'd love to see a lot more ground combat because currently I don't like that it's only air. I want to see a lot more land or ground POIs. As for PvP in the deep desert, we are currently formulating a plan. We want players to make meaningful decisions about what they bring with them and how they outfit their vehicles. Once players have engaged in PvP, we want them to experience, we want the experience to be reliable, responsive, and clearly understood. This determines how PvP feels and how players make their movements and decisions in a fight. To ensure a more reliable experience in ground combat, we are continuing to address issues with the movement desyncs, rubber banding, as well as activation reliability. Yeah, I think for now, just overall like smoothness, man. Like honestly, I think they just need to iron that stuff out. Like, don't get me wrong, the combat is atrocious, but until they fix the rubber banding, until they fix some of the crashes or the black screen issues, I don't know. I think that should take top priority. Get everything kind of functioning appropriately, and then look at how we could kind of rebalance the air combat. Because I really don't know. Like, it's very tough. Like, when you only have, like, one weapon in the game, and you have a really cheaply made vehicle that can just kind of get in and get the fuck out, it makes shit a little interesting. It makes it a little unfair, too. Especially when you got some of these, like, Zerg clans coming in. See, like, 30 people in the deep desert just running Scout Ornithopters, just fucking up everyone's day. Thankfully, I've only experienced it once, and I literally just left the PvE zone, so I just went back to Haga Basin. But all of my other times in the deep desert, I will admit, it is kind of fun, but at the same time, it's a little bland. Doing spice runs is probably my favorite thing to do right now, but then again, I don't know how long it's going to last. I want ground combat. That's like my biggest thing. I want to have POIs in the deep desert where I stumble across other groups, and it's like, dueling out abilities, shooting each other, not just Imperial testing stations. Because the Imperial testing stations, they're a little too much of, the nicest way I can say it is a clusterfuck. So hopefully that gets changed. I'd love to see a lot more ground POIs. I think that'd be interesting. Even like if they were to add like strongholds that we would have to fight to like contest over to like, gain control of. I mean, we have some of those already in Haga Basin. They would just have to copy and paste it, make it like a King of the Hill activity. Just saying, I think that'd be genius. Easy fix. Assets already there. But I don't know. We'll see. Let's see, what did this guy say? Will you be looking at changing the name of storage containers, please, for my sanity? Containers and vehicles, it's annoying to have like 12 in the base, put material in one. I agree with these two guys. I hope it comes. The same thing with the fill all and extract all button. It needs to happen ASAP. Vehicle naming is also something that will be coming to help out with management of inventory and bases. This will appear on the inventory drop down in the base, so you know what vehicle you are taking resources from. Thank you. I don't know when this is coming. I'm praying this is with the, what is it? I'm spacing out. I'm hoping this comes with the quality of life update they're talking about releasing in early July. Fingers crossed. But, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait a little longer. But hopefully that's when it comes out. Let's see. Definitely this is one of the list of changes we want to make to improve base. Yeah. There you go. Commit to exactly when this is coming. Difficult managing huge bases and touch storage containers. I absolutely agree. I also think with the circuit thing too, it also makes it a little bit more difficult because we're only limited to so many. And when you don't know what's what, you know, like if I can't name a chest, aluminum, spice, you know, fucking jasmium, it just makes shit a little difficult. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I also want to see more shelves, you know, easier storage weight or storage container like elements to the game. Because right now doing the half wall thing's kind of janky. I don't like that, but I'd like to see something similar to like a storage rack. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Are there any plans to implement something like a faction-based warfare in the DD or with the war map or such? PvP in the DD is such a big issue. Yeah, let's see. This guy he's already talking about it. Something that encourages more ground combat uses of skills and gear. Yeah, because I think the biggest issue in the game is we have all of these weapons, we have all of these skills, even though they cater to more of, I want to say like raid mechanics from like other games. We don't really see anything that emphasizes that. So once again, I'm going to go back and say, I think they should add some of the strongholds from Haga Basin and make it like a King of the Hill thing to help contribute or I guess compete in the Landsrad, where if your guild or house has control of more strongholds, you know, you'll be able to gain somewhat of an advantage over the people that are just competing in the Landsrad bounding contract thing. But I don't know, just an idea. Let's see, the Deep Desert will always stay PvP free-for-all area. But maybe we'll consider adding other locations that offer factional warfare. I mean, they could always take the division approach and make like a dark zone type of thing within the Deep Desert. I mean, it's already PvP, but like the dark zone in essence would be strictly ground. Like you could make it to where there's like a permanent sandstorm of some sort above it to where flying in and out is really, really punishing, but taking vehicles is more worthwhile. I don't know what the lore implications of that would be. I don't know how that would translate over, but you could do something like that. Or you could make it all underground to where buggies are your best friend. You know, same thing with the sand bikes. But then I don't know. Because there's also talks about them adding a tank. But I don't know. I really don't know how like the tank's even going to like fit into the current meta, considering everyone is just spamming rockets 24/7. So it's going to be a very interesting challenge they're taking on. Will you change the Landsrad so that players can contribute to it after it's been claimed? Our current plan is to allow contributions to stack week after week so that small groups and solos can work towards larger rewards over time. And then adding more tiers of rewards as well as new activity drivers in the Landsrad. Okay, so that's huge. Like I said, the more there are, the better. I mean, the fact that they're even talking about allowing people to just take them on regardless of whether or not another like guild has done it, that's huge because that means you can add I guess like more unique rewards for people to do, you know, stuff that will entice them. I mean, right now as it stands, like Solari, I'd like to see it, you know, branched out to more different type of vendor things that you can buy. Because right now you only really use it for your base and paying taxes. It's kind of useless. Yeah, you could buy shit off of the market, but if you are, you know, taking the time to explore the map, you're going to find a lot of the good stuff anyway if you know where to go. And there's no point buying it from the market from someone who's trying to scalp it, quote unquote. I'm kind of guilty of that because I made like 300k off of the Tarl cutter the other day. But yeah, I don't know. Once you hit a certain point in the game, I don't think the market's really worthwhile. So I'd like to see more purposes used for Solari. Even like I don't know, like a fucking furniture or builder trader that you could go buy from. Like once a month, they add a new set. You got to buy like individual pieces to kind of stretch it out. I don't know. Depends on how they want to do it. But something like that. Or even more customization for vehicles. You know, like let's put decals on them or change the interior or I guess like more color customization in specific areas. Like if I want to make like this part of the blade like green and this one white. I don't know. Something to kind of like, pun intended, spice things up. But I don't know. I'd like to see some type of changes. All right, let's see. What did this guy say? Can we get a deep desert zone for only on-foot combat? Feels like air combat at the moment is just creating a mode where only bikes and buggies are allowed. Or wait. Oh, creating a mode where only bugs and... Okay. That's what he meant. Also, can we get more dungeons within the deep desert and a variety of bosses and targeted loot farms? The second part, I do not agree with. However, for the first part, I do think they can take, like I said earlier, like the dark zone approach and just make it to where it's very, it's like very anti-air. You could theoretically just build, like, I don't know, like a 500-meter stronghold with walls and anti-air turrets or something. I don't know if that's within the Dune universe, but it doesn't seem too far out of reach considering the sci-fi world that it's in. You know, don't attack me. I don't know too much about the universe. I just know enough from like the movies and some videos that I've seen, but that's kind of it. But I do think something like that could work to where flying there is not an option. You want to go on ground because you're storming the stronghold against either AI or other players that have control. And it's like a King of the Hill event. There's loot chests at certain checkpoints. You know, you could treat it like the, oh, what are they called? If anyone's played The Division, there's like this specific type of missions that you do. And there's like certain checkpoints where you get a reward by getting to that checkpoint. You could do something similar to that with the strongholds where, hey, we got this far, boom, 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 here's this reward. You want to get the fuck out because another team or another guild can come in and take it from you. You know what I mean? Something like that would be cool. Alright, let's see what Joel said. He said, no, that is not the plan. However, a lot of adjustments and balancing are going into drive the combat towards the core version, which is people competing over points of interest in the deep desert. Okay, so then the stronghold idea could theoretically work. The current balance between vehicles and on foot is not tuned to our liking. There are multiple changes in the pipeline to address this above and beyond bug fixes or bugs we will fix. I just want to see what they're going to do. Like, I want to hear it. Like I said, I'd love to see more vehicle attachments as far as weaponry. I really want to see, like, door gunners be a thing, like, especially on the carrier. You know, if I could get rid of my storage module or my booster, I don't know if it comes with that yet, but if I could sub that out for 2 people or 1 person on each side with a door gunner from, like, the movie, it'd be fucking huge, because then you could do spice runs with the sandcrawler, and you know you have some protection-ish, right? But, I don't know. We'll see. As far as the bottom, we will continue to add dungeons, but we will not add targeted loot systems. That defeats the entire purpose of the deep desert and the randomization and re-exploration loop. I completely agree. I don't think they should add that. I think that would be a very what's the word? It'd be a very, not disingenuous, but just bad change in general. I don't see how that would benefit us. Targeted loot is not what we want. I kind of like not knowing what I'm gonna find whenever I go out there. But I do think the way that it is set up structurally currently, I like it because it's kind of like, it's not targeted loot, but with Imperial testing stations, you know you're probably going to get something utility wise. With the shipwrecks or the wrecked crashes, you know you're probably going to get armor or weaponry over something else, but those loot pools will still drop something from anything that's in that category. So I mean, I don't know, I think it's good as is, but some places they do drop, you know, one thing specifically more than others. So as long as, you know, they keep wiping, I think it'll be fine. This guy. So I'm playing mostly solo, and I don't dare go into the deep desert because we only get bullied by guilds. How can we solo our players advance late game without having to join a guild? What did they say? Thought you might want to check these replies, PvE content. Okay, yeah, so see, they're trying to get people to join groups. I highly recommend, if you are playing this game, just go talk to people. You'll thank me later. Just go talk to people. If you are adamant about just soloing, late night gaming sessions are going to be your best friend. If you're just trying to get in and out for spice runs, I mean, that's really the only way you're going to be able to do it. And even then, you're going to be doing it so much more slower than everyone else. But, you know, to each their own. Are there any plans to make building easier, like being able to replace a floor without having to move everything and destroy the current floor? Please. He said, yes, we're planning to add the option to replace one piece with another without having to destroy it first. That'd be huge. I mean, I could already see how it would work. You'd place the, I guess the green outline that you already have in the game and just hold left click and it'll just replace it. I mean, I could see that being a thing on how they would do it. Will we ever be able to stack storage boxes? There are ways to do this already using half walls to create shelves. We are continuously looking on improving quality of life, and stacking storage boxes is on that list. Yes, please. Because there's got to be different ways to do it. Like, I don't know. The way that it is, it's too janky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, I mean, shoot. The fact that they're even working on that is huge. A lot of PvE players feel disheartened and discouraged by the setup of endgame play, as PvP is basically forced on anyone waiting to advance in the game. Are there any considerations to adjust this for perhaps making resources available without having to delve into PvP? Alright, let's see what he said. We will continue to make improvements to the Lines Red to ensure that it serves the needs of PvE players. The Deep Desert itself will remain PvP as it is today, with the PvE area in the south. I think the PvE area should be a tad bit bigger, but other than that, I don't think it should. I do think PvP is a very big part of this game, especially in the end game, and I think they just need to improve it more so it's more fun. But I don't know. I'm trusting in the vision. I like where they're going with it. I don't really necessarily agree with that, but I don't know. They might fold. They might give a PvE Deep Desert only. I don't know. I really don't know what they're gonna do, but But as it currently stands, I don't know. I think the PvP Deep Desert's in a good spot. Like besides the rocket spamming bullshit, I think if they can figure that out and balance the ground combat, I think you'll see a lot more PvE players come into it because it won't be as much of a shit show worrying about like 30 odd people with scouts just fucking bomb rushing you. You know, destroying like 20, 30 hours of your fucking, you know, life for grinding like a buggy or an ornithopter. But we will see what they do. Let's see. Thunder and Laughter said, "Will you be looking at a change that allows us to take corpses from a storage box and place it directly in the death still? At the moment, it's not possible. However, I would be happy if you're limited to it, to the proximity of the death still, as we tend to have a storage container full of corpses right next to the death stills. I mean, I do too. I have like 3 of them, but you know, grabbing it and placing it's not too bad considering you get quite a bit of water and it's only like an hour of waiting, so it's like you can kind of just drag and drop it, go do something else. You know what I mean? Joel said, "My friend, the intentionality of lifting a corpse and placing it in the sacred machine is known as a death still is a ritual that must be honored with the contemplation of each and every victim that you place within. I was a friend of Jameis Bia Kaifa, sorry. Also, the death stills are an insanely rewarding way to get water, and the current design is in line with the convention given by the automated machinery. There's a core difference between the Fremen technology and the Chom technology, and the corpses are not compatible with the circuit systems." I completely agree. I think as is, death stills, having a bunch of them is the way to go. Me personally, I want to have like 6 or 7, maybe even 8 of them. The wind traps, don't get me wrong, they're useful, but I just don't use them. I'm never at my base, so I'll just drag a corpse in, I'll come back, I'll do something later. So I totally agree with Joel on that one. Let's see. Oh, this a big boy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this one. What are your plans to improve PvP? Right now, PvP feels meaningless. There's no real risk or reward. Killing someone on the land only gives a few lootable items. The player keeps their gear and crafted items. Taking someone down in the air is fun, but all we get is a destroyed chopper and no real gain. When you die, you just respawn and jump back in. There's no consequence, and that removes all intensity from the PvP. It should be the core of the endgame experience, but right now it feels hollow. PvE quickly becomes repetitive, with nothing more than farming and crafting to do. Can we introduce a meaningful rank system, faction control, or territory influence? So that would kind of be like the stronghold, I guess like Dark Zone idea, if I'm not mistaken. A smaller Deep Desert map size to increase player counts. Be able to loot crafted or farmed items. Can we consolidate sieges and servers to see more people frequently or on PvP and PvE encounters? I think the issue with this one, before we even continue, is honestly just the activity. They need to fix the activity, because I on myself on my current server, we have very, very high activity, but there's no more than like maybe 30 people on, maybe 20 people on in the Haga Basin most days. You know what I mean? But that's just my server. I don't know if the rest of them are like that. When are we going to fix classes quests? Most people are having issues with finishing classes quests due to the journey issues and the bug, and Plantologist is the class that's presenting the most problems. That one, I'm just going to give you guys a freebie. Go to method.gg. They have a really, really good in-depth guide on doing all of the class systems for the trainers. Highly recommend it. That's what I followed. That's how I did it. The Plantologist in general, yes, there is a lot of issues with it. I know I had another, like the only quest that I've had bugged so far was one from the main Atreides guy. I forgot what his name was, but it was like one of the last quests that you do before you sign the papers. That one I had to restart my game like 6 times before it finally let me do it. But, you know, at the end of the day, yes, that still needs to get ironed out. That still needs to get fixed, but it really wasn't that bad. I was able to kind of just steamroll through all my trainers with no issue. Maybe I'm blessed. I don't fucking know, but I had no issues with that. So hopefully they get whatever issues are going on fixed with that. That'd be huge. When are we going to get... Oh, I already read that one. Can we get in-game notifications that have the time associated with the player or server time zone instead of UTC? I can kind of see where he's coming from with that one. Can we have a deposit all and extract all button for water storages and any other items? Yes, brother, preach. That one needs to happen. Can we increase the party size or remove friendly fire between guildmates? I'm gonna be honest, I like the 4-ban. I think once you have more than 4 people in a group, it gets a little chaotic. Even with 4 people now, Sometimes the dots and shit just disappear. Like, you'll see them on your mini map, or you'll see them next to you, and then you have to rejoin party. It's kind of bugged. Until they fix that, I don't think they should be increasing the size. But I don't know. I think having 4-man squads is kind of interesting because it kind of forces, I guess, bigger groups to delegate more. So if you are doing collaborations with other guilds, you want to put like one person in each group to kind of have like some type of, hey, I'm tracking my friend here, I'm tracking my friend there, you know? But I don't know. There are ways to implement it. I think if anything, the compass needs an overhaul because right now we have the little notches, which is northeast, southwest, like all the directions. But there's no numbers to call out bearings. I don't like that. I think that needs to get changed personally, but we'll see. Friendly fire though, I think that should stay on. It is the deep desert. It is high risk, high reward. I do think you should be able to kill your friends. A lot of other PvP games do that. Tarkov did not hold any or pull any punches when it came to that. I can't tell you the amount of times my friends have killed me and I have killed them. I think it creates some funny moments. So I think they should leave it. But that's just me. Can the map filters be more granular or persistent? Right now, every time I open the map, I have to manually toggle filters. For example, I don't care about the copper ore. I only want to see the aluminum. It would be much better if the map remembered my preferences and allowed more specific filtering options. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't have anything to say on this one. I never really use my map for looking for that kind of stuff. I have my own little routes that I run. I'd be more than happy to show those to you guys if you guys are interested. So if you are, please let me know. But I never use my map for looking for resources. Can the radar or top HUD be made dynamic as well? Instead of always showing POIs or POI distances, I'd prefer to customize what appears there. For example, I'd like a radar to show only specific POIs or resources. I care about based on my filter settings. This would reduce clutter and make exploitation more efficient. You know what? Once again on this one, I can kind of see what he's talking about, but at the same time, I don't know. I think they just need to add bearings. I kind of like the little waypoint system, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you guys don't agree. Maybe you do. You know, we're all entitled to our own opinion. Can we make it easier to distinguish between players and NPCs, especially in PvP areas? In fast-paced fights, it's often hard to tell who's a real player and who's an NPC. That's where situational awareness really comes in, my friend. I'm gonna be completely honest. But you know, that's just my opinion. You know, I'm gonna use Tarkov again as a good reference point. You really don't know who's who. That's why it's very important that you pay attention to, I guess, callouts and where your friends are. But I don't know. That's just me. I'm used to playing like that, so it doesn't really come as an issue for me. Also, can we make players' names and guild tags more visible? Quickly identifying allies and enemies, especially in large fights, would greatly improve clarity and reduce friendly fire and confusion. Maybe I'm a bad person, but I like the chaos. I think, once again, it would create some really funny moments and some really cool tension. It's kind of just where I stand on it. But if they do it, I wouldn't be bothered. See, can we have an option to skip all dialogue and animations? Some players like myself are not into the lore or all of this nonsense. We're here to play a survival game. It'd be great if we can have an option to skip all of this. Okay. Kind of already getting a sense of this guy. I don't know. Maybe I'm being judgy. I don't like that one. I think the story's pretty good, but I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe you guys don't agree. I think it's fucking amazing. Can we remove the mini-map between worlds? Such a waste of developer resources. Just make the option to go directly from place to place. Really fly. I think that's fucking boring. Sorry. I like the world map. I don't know. I'm not gonna fight him over it, but I do like the world map. Can you make the map feature be toggle across the world maps and see party, or just toggle between worlds instead of restricting the map to only player location? Damn, bro, this guy wrote a lot. Like, I'm out of fucking breath right now. Okay, let's see what Joel said. A lot to address here, so I will try to keep my answers short and to the point. What are your plans to improve PvP? We have a lot of plans to address your points about the respawn times and revives. Full loot is a decree that can be obtained via Landsrad, so compete there if you want to make it a reality. Completely agree. There are control points in the deep desert that already. We have no plans to reduce the deep desert size. As we work on the game, we will continue to work on making PvP more rewarding. I hope they make it fucking bigger. More POIs and make it bigger. That's what I want. I'm sure you will note that I'm not being very concrete, but that is because we are planning and watching how people are playing and finding the right points to address. See, I completely agree. You kind of have to trial by fire with something with it like this, because it's the first game to kind of really blend these elements. Like, you're combining a survival game and an RPG. Hasn't really been done before in this, like, I guess, aspect or this way. You know? So it's like, I don't know. I think they like the fact that Conan Exiles is still going on is kind of proof that they'll do the right thing to keep people playing. So we just kind of have to wait and see and just kind of give them our feedback. But so far, I think they're doing a great job. But we'll see how this quality of life update goes. Can we consolidate sietches and servers to see more people frequently on PvE and PvP encounters? I think it's a little too soon. I mean, he did say we will do this when we feel it's necessary. I think it's a little too soon. I think they need to wait at least till September. At least until the first DLC comes out. I think that's probably when they should start looking at that. Because we already got 200,000 people playing. I think there's not enough people in the game, but I don't know. I think they should fix the activity feature first, and then we should probably look at the consolidation. But I'm not a developer. That's just my own personal opinion. Can the in-game notifications have the time associated with player instead of UTC? Yes, this is being improved. Cool, that's huge. When are they going to fix classes? We're making multiple improvements. Worth noting, a majority of people have 0 issues completing them, but we have a few reporting issues. Yeah, see, so I was one of the few. I only had that one issue, though. And I'll take that all day long. I mean, I was able to do every other quest in the game so far. You know, knock on wood until they add new ones. Can we have a deposit all and extract all button? We are working on it. Thank you, Joel. It's fucking amazing. Can't wait to get that. Can we increase party size or remove friendly fire? No, this is the party size we have chosen for the game, and our encounters and PvE balance towards this. Changing it is not in the plans, so we will also expect guilds to coordinate and work together. Friendly fire is there to ensure that they do. Yeah, so once again, that's what it really comes down to. As long as you and your team are able to kind of call out and communicate, there really shouldn't be much friendly fire, especially if you guys kind of go into it looking a certain way. That's what we've been kind of doing. We'll make like one specific piece that we know stands out, like a certain color. Yeah, you might see other people run it, but if everyone's running a bright green and, you know, we got blue heads on top of us, you know, and only blue heads, and everyone else is running like black underneath or something, it kind of stands out, so you kind of know what to look for. But I don't know. I guess that just comes down to your dynamic and your group that you're playing with. Can the map filters be more granular or persistent? We'll look into this. I have no idea what those two words mean. Or not two words, but granular. I don't know what that means. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what that looks like. Can the HUD be more dynamic? No, this is not planned and is very expensive to implement a new change. I don't think it's bad, but I think it would be nice to turn off some stuff. I don't know. I like the dynamic HUD. I think as it is, it's kind of good. It kind of just fades out and you forget about it. But once again, I do think the compass needs bearings. I really think that's going to be really big for callouts. Even if that is something that you kind of have to like unlock in a way. I don't know. But that needs to be a thing. We need more bearings. Can we make it easier to distinguish between players and NPCs, especially in PvP areas? No, this is in line with the vision of the game. Completely agree. I think it's fine the way it is. But we have the option to skip all dialogue and animations. Absolutely not. It is clear from your questions that you value efficiency above else, but the vision of the game is to value Dune above else. So no. That is a fucking 10 out of 10 response right there. Can we remove the minimap game between worlds? Nope, this is also in line with the vision of the game. I completely agree. I think it's fun. I think when they add new locations that we can travel to, that's like the best way to go about it. I mean, unless you just want to play Solari, but you know, whatever. Be boring. Can we make the map feature be able to toggle across the worlds to see party? Toggle between restricting the map player location. No, we have no plans to implement this. It would add a lot of server overhead and absolutely not be worth it. I don't disagree. I mean, I see where he's coming from. I completely agree with Joel on this one. How do you plan on fixing PvP balance at the moment? Surely the scout shouldn't have offensive capabilities as balance. In all fairness, the scout only gets one attachment, and switching them out does take a second. But I do think they need to do something about the speed. Like, I think the assault ornithopter should be quicker, personally, because I mean, it has more wings. The thrusters are bigger. I think it should be faster. That's just me. I don't think it should be as maneuverable, but I think it should be faster. But let's see. What do they say? I assume this is in relation to flying vehicles, specifically things we are considering. Equipping a scout ornithopter with rocket pods to reduce overall maneuverability and max speed. This will help solidify this module as a desire to engage combat and balance it versus combat-focused vehicles. Solid enough. Scout ornithopter rockets to cause slightly more heat to fire, limiting its combat usefulness. Yeah, absolutely. See, there you go. That's already a huge change. The fact that it's going to burn up faster is huge because that means you're using a module on a vehicle it's not designed for. Yeah, no, I don't know. I completely agree with that. Scout ornithopter thrusters to provide a bonus to maximum speed of the ornithopter at all times, even while gliding. Huh. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right, but I don't know. That's gonna be interesting if that's how they're gonna spin it. They're just gonna put integrated thrusters. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with all three of these. I really do. I think it's gonna be interesting. I say let's let them change it and kind of see how it plays out. That's kind of the only way to go about it in a game like this. Let's go on to the next one. What plans do you guys have for the endgame content concerning PvE? The beginning of the game up to the deep desert is absolutely amazing, and I certainly hope that PvEers eat good going forward. Thought you might want to check out these responses. We're adding more content for PvE players. Oh, okay. So they did. Okay, so they kind of just gave us a link. Cool. Right now, it seems that the game is heavily tied to vehicle movement. As someone who wants to be a desert wanderer relying on walking in the desert, are there any plans to add sand walking? We will do walking without rhythm. Cool. I'm down. I want to be able to hide in the I want to be able to hide by a what's it called? Like a spice explosion or a spice POI. I forget what the fuck they're called. But I want to hide in the sand and wait for people to pull up and just walk up behind them and shank them. I want to be able to do that. I want to be like a true Fremen, hide in the sand. You know, put a thumper down, ruin their day, or shoot down their harvesters. You know. Ooh, this is a fun one. Will you add an option for dueling? Yes, we are planning on adding the possibility to duel. I think this would be huge just for visiting like other guilds or clans. Even just having in your own base, you know, you can have like a little arena pit for you and your buddies, you know, test out builds, test out certain weapons, see how they perform. I think that'd be fucking massive, you know? Because we really have like no way of testing out our damage besides just going out there and, you know, fucking around and finding out. So I think that's gonna be huge. Let's see, thunder and laughter again. Please, can we have a door tall enough so that the buggy with the mining laser can go through it? My poor buggy is left outside under a bit of roof most of the time. I'm not a huge fan of aesthetics that Panda Shields offer for a base. Probably a minority here. You know what? I think we should have the option. I do think they should add it. I don't know about right now. I don't think it's a necessity. I think the shields kind of do a good job as they are. But definitely moving forward, I'd like to see vehicle like doors, you know, like hangars. We don't currently have that on the roadmap, but it's a good idea. We'll see what we can do. It's a solid suggestion, but like I said, I don't think that's something we need in the game currently, but it's still pretty fucking cool. I'd like to see it in the future. That's for sure. All right, let's look at this one. Are there any plans for procedural radiant contracts at outpost boards? It's not in our plans right now, but we're always looking at viable options to add to the game as long as it fits within the Dune lore. I'm assuming that's what they meant. I think this would be a good idea, especially in the Haga Basin. I still feel like there's tons of areas on the map that we didn't even really get to go to, just because some of those POIs, you know, you kind of just run in, grab the intel, and get the fuck out. And a lot of quests don't even take you back to those areas. Once again, I think the bounty hunting thing, I think that would be a fun way of doing it, or going to a stronghold you haven't been to from like an earlier zone, sabotaging it, you know, something like that. Just repeatable missions that offer, I guess, like smaller rewards. I don't know, but you could always make them like endgame rewards once you hit a certain bracket. I was gonna suggest maybe adding world tiers, but I don't agree with world tiers. I feel like that kind of just fuck everything up. But definitely some type of bounty system from, you know, the outpost boards would be pretty cool, because we already have some dynamic events in the game, you know, such as like the crashed ships. Maybe you could add something similar to that. You know, something that just kind of happens. You have to go and find it, or it finds you. I think that'd be interesting. Let's look at this one. Little Gary. Curious if there will be boss fights or raids or dungeons of any activities like that. By the way, the game is fantastic. You've all done such an incredible job. We will continue to evolve the PvE content, including adding boss encounters as part of future dungeons. Thanks, glad you like it. I think they should add raids. I really do. I feel like the way that they've set up the buffs and the way that the abilities operate in the game, the only thing you're really lacking is a healer. But if you were to add something like that that adds passive healing or something like that, or like debuffing, then yeah, absolutely. But you don't even need that. I think as it currently stands, given everything that we have like in our kit or our arsenals that we can use as a group, I think raids would be a really fun idea for PvE, but I don't know. That's me personally. I think that'd be huge. I'd love to try that out. Let's see. Suna said, right now, respecking seems to remove your starting skill, but does not refund the skill point. So if you respec at level 150, you only get 149 skills back. I know many players have reported this bug, but it has not been added to the known issues on the Discord as far as I can see. What is the threshold for adding issues to known issues? Should we keep encouraging new players to report issues such as this until it gets added to known issues? Great question. The list of known issues is not exhaustive and does not capture every bug. We focus on the most common and impactful issues and update the list regularly. Regardless of whether the bug is on the list, we encourage players to report them. Bugs provide valuable information to our quality assurance teams to fix these issues and help us determine how many players might be affected. Definitely a bug. It will be fixed in an upcoming patch. There you go. That's huge. They're already on it. Will there be a roadmap published soon? Like other games such as Satisfactory and Valheim, what kind of quality of life plans will there be? And will there be other decorating/building packs released soon? Yes, we intend to keep you in the loop on what's coming. We will share our mid to long-term progress plans soon. However, they may not take the form of a static roadmap asset. I think them just doing developer live streams and just kind of talking about what they want to implement alone, besides just kind of having like, you know, like a published roadmap, because time and time again, we've seen other companies kind of do the roadmap thing and it never really works out. Some of them deliver, some of them don't. But I think, I don't know, I want to say talking to the community and kind of planning a roadmap with the community of things that we want to see and things that they want to add, you know, kind of coming together and doing that middle ground. I think that'd be a solid roadmap, but at the same time, I don't know. I kind of trust them. I feel like what they're doing and what they're going to be adding is going to be worth it. So, I don't know. That's just me. Ooh. Okay, this is a good one. Are there any plans for map expansion? Not saying there's an issue with the size. The map is quite big as it is. But purely curious if there's going to be any future map expansions. We have many plans to expand the game with additional maps in the future, and an overland map is one of our vehicles to do so. The Dune universe has a lot of interesting locations and worlds to explore, and we're looking forward to continue to build on top of that. So the polar ice caps could happen, where they phase out the resources we have. We could get like tier 6 through 10. They could add snowmobiles or snow bikes, snow buggies, you know? We could have like parasailing, like different types of vehicles to complement the elements that we're going to be dealing with. That'd be interesting. I kind of like where he's going with that. All right, let's see. Ouroboros 612. Your creative director recently had an interview, talked about because he had 1,000 decisions. At the end of the day, they're hoping that they make the right ones. So we would expect that the bigger game decisions are much harder to decide on. This leaves the Deep Desert endgame in a highly confusing to me. You could elaborate the following. First, you crafted a super fun, engaging, highly addictive, immersive game doing this. Handcrafted POIs. Okay. You're basically designing the endgame as if you want 90% of the player base to abandon the game. Did you intend for the endgame to be designed for extremely niche hardcore PvP minority? Or are you actually hoping that you'd get a lot of PvE players to join in and learn PvP too? Is your actual plan for the Deep Desert like the zone for PvE with world bosses, events, raid bosses, dungeons, POIs, etc. down the line? I'm actually hopeful for the future of Dune Awakening. Why? Because I refuse to believe that in such a long string of doing every right decision, you'd fail so massively just at the finish line. I apologize for being so blunt here, however, I wouldn't air out this criticism if I didn't love the game and want the game to improve. However, the design is very confusing and strange. You have PvE endgame zone plan ace in your sleeve for the future, right? Whew. Alright, Joel. He's gonna come in with a clutch fucking response here, I hope. I appreciate the wording and tone of this compared to some of the other questions about this topic, but because one of the decisions that was made is one that you disagree with doesn't mean it's the wrong one. The fact that people continually talk about the endgame and never mention the Landsrad, but are exclusively focused on the Deep Desert is an indicator to me that we have failed to convey the importance of the system to PvE players. We will add more to refine this, but every person who plays our game is a PvE player because 90% of the game is PvE. Then people who want to engage in the Deep Desert are the people who enjoy both. But here's the thing that will either make you happy or unhappy. We will continue to add PvE content to the game. PvE content is expensive to produce and takes time. But as you have correctly stated, we know how to do it well, so we will continue to add it and progression will be added to those areas accordingly. Whereas the deep desert will always be the end game of PvE, or the end game for PvE space or PvP space. It will always be be a loop. While PvE elements of the game will continue to expand in a few years, the overland map might be dotted with dozens of points of interest to explore. The deep desert will still be there, with the Coriolis storms, the scouting loop, the entire vision of what it is. It will be tweaked, but it will remain PvP space for the game. There is a balance between them, and it will always be something that we work on. You know what? I'll take it. The fact that he's even saying we're gonna get new zones, and the fact that they're even thinking about adding other zones to continue keeping other PvE players engaged, we're gonna be eating good. So I got faith. But once again, it all depends on how these updates go and when they come out. Is there gonna be a PvE option for people to farm endgame materials, or is it gonna be something you get behind PvP? Our plan is for the Landsrad to be the endgame PvE content, so we will continue making adjustments so that the future... with the feature until both of you guys are happy with it. It should feel rewarding for both solo and guild players and offer personal rewards, in addition to faction-wide map rewards. In addition, we will have PvE maps and content in the future that will offer alternative ways to progress past gear in Haga Basin. You know what? I'll take it. That's solid. Will you add a PvE version of Deep Desert? We have no plans. I completely agree. Keep it that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with those responses, personally. But anyway, with that being said, I think we're going to cut it there. We've already been going for almost an hour just kind of talking about some of this stuff. So, I'm happy with everything they talked about. I'm happy with kind of everything we saw. If you guys want me to continue reading this Reddit thread and see if there's more that I missed, you know, leave a like button, leave a comment down below. And with that being said, you know, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we're gonna be posting more Dune content here soon. I got some tutorials and guides I want to show to you guys, you know, just to kind of help you guys out for those of you that are in the end game or starting to get into the end game. And if there's anything you want to see early game, or if you are coming into this game new, please let me know. I will definitely be more than happy to make a guide on that. And with that being said, I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.